And so that's the goal, right? So we've got all these emails. If this goal is achieved, the contact will be moved here, right? It says any contact on this map, move them here if the goal is achieved. And then what is it going to say? It's going to say, card updated successfully. Awesome. What's dunning, you ask? Funny, you should ask that. Somebody I was talking to recently had never heard that word before. I hadn't heard that word before I started this business. It's the process of trying to collect payments from people who owe you money. And it's something that we can automate in Ontraport. And I want to show you how you do that. And actually a couple of little tips and tricks about how to manage that kind of in a slick way. There's actually two ways of doing it. So I'm going to go through both. There's kind of an older tool that we used to have. There's nothing wrong with the older tool. But after we released Campaign Builder, we put most of the functionality in the Campaign Builder. So now you can do it right in Campaigns. So I'll show you both methods. So real quickly though, what do I mean by dunning, or collecting payments that are owed? Well, there's typically two situations where somebody would owe you money. Look, if somebody comes to your shop online or whatever, and they try to buy something and their credit card fails, they don't really owe you the money, right? Because you didn't send the thing. They didn't actually buy anything. It just didn't work out. And of course, there's ways of managing that. If somebody attempts a card transaction and it fails, you can follow up with those people and say, hey, you didn't successfully complete this transaction. Maybe you want to come back and try again. But it's a different situation when somebody actually owes you the money. Either they, they purchased something and you sent it and they now owe you the money, or they're on a subscription and their monthly subscription payment fails. Either way, those are going to be related to open orders. So let me just go through real quick here and show you the couple of ways that a transaction gets into collections. So at any particular transaction in Ontraport, I'm going to just click on this contact right here, and you can go into purchases and you'll see the transactions. So purchase history, just so we're clear, purchase history is the products that they've purchased in the past. Right? That's just a list of the products that they purchased and how many they purchased and how much they paid for it and stuff like that. And that's interesting information to have. You can use that information to segment and stuff like that. But a transaction is a different thing. That is an actual attempt on a credit card. And a transaction may include multiple products, right? And then, of course, there's a third concept in here called open subscriptions and payment plans, actually. We used to call them open orders. I think actually they might be called open orders somewhere else. And that's basically standing orders that are going to get charged in the future. So that might be a payment plan or a subscription. That's, I guess, why we called it subscriptions and payment plans. So if you want to charge somebody something, you can either click the log transaction or click new transaction button right here. And what happens is you get this screen, and you can either, you fill it out, right? You put you can put a bunch of products in here, create new stuff to buy. You can obviously add trial periods, make it a subscription, all the kind of stuff you do here. And then you choose what you want to do, charge it now, or just log it as though it were charged. Like maybe they wrote you a check, or you already got paid somehow, so you can just log it, and that just is going to add it to the transaction history. But normally you would charge now, you'd enter the credit card information, and you would submit it, and one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. If it works, the thing is going to be purchased, and the transaction will the transaction will show as paid. If there's a subscription in there, it'll create an open order, and on we go. If it does not successfully charge, it'll ask you a question. Do you want to cancel this transaction, or do you want to just mark it as declined, or do you want to put this in collections? That is, you already sent this thing out. They bought this thing. They've got whatever the service is or the product, and we're now sending it to collections. So when it goes to collections, that transaction will have a status change. It'll say it's now in collections. And then that'll go through a new process. The other way a transaction gets into collections is if there's an open order, like a subscription, and the first transaction goes through, the first payment, the next monthly payment or whatever it is, quarterly payment goes through. The next time it tries to charge, maybe the card's expired, whatever it might be, and it bounces. That transaction is now going to be set to go into collections. So that's the two ways that a transaction can end up in collections. And what happens when a transaction goes to collections? Well, basically, we keep trying the card every once in a while for a period of time to collect the money for you. And there's some settings that you can look at here. They're called recharge settings. So you go to sales, settings, and then down here you'll see recharge settings. And this is the default values here. It's going to retry the card every 3 days and keep trying for 90 days. You can change those, obviously. You can try every day and try for 30 days, whatever you want to do. But that's basically what's going to happen. We're going to keep trying it. And if the charge is successful eventually, like maybe it's a debit card and they, and they have now money in their account, or it's a credit card and they were over their limit and now they paid their bill, whatever the story might be, and the transaction becomes successful, then that will be set to paid. The transaction will be no longer in collections, and on we go. Now, at the end of 90 days, or whatever you have set in this field right here, we're going to change the status of that transaction from in collections to write-off. You just lost the money, and that's a status that you'll want to have that in your books as a write-off. So that's kind of how that will work. Now, of course, if it's just a one-off purchase and you tried to collect the money and you failed, and now it's written off, or you do whatever process you do to try to collect that money, that's kind of like one situation. But if it's a subscription, then a lot of us want to be a little more engaged in what happens during that process. For example, well, shoot, I actually don't know what our current rules are at Ontraport, but I think that if you don't pay us, we tell you, hey, your payment bounced. We probably give you several, I don't know what, I don't even want to say, maybe a week or 2 or 3 or 4, probably a month, something like that. Some period of time where we allow you to keep using the app and just remind you that you need to pay. And then at some point, we'll allow your stuff to keep running. Your pages are still loaded, your emails are still going out, but when you try to log in, it doesn't kind of let you in. It puts a credit card thing in your face that says, hey, you need to update your credit card before you can use the app again. And then if you still don't pay, I can't remember how long it is, another month or something like that, then we say like, okay, you've abandoned your account and we're gonna actually turn it off, right? And of course, that's a several step process, and there's all these communications that need to go out in there. And so if you have a subscription program, whether it's a membership site or any other, you're going to want to probably have some kind of similar process where you're kind of notifying people and then warning them and then eventually locking them out, and then finally just canceling their account. And of course, if they ever come and pay, and or if the card just magically works eventually, then you need to undo that whole process and let them back in and tell them that the transaction was successful and they're now off the hook. So that's the process we're talking about here: dunning, the retrying, the warning, the removing of access, and all that stuff. So a couple of ways to do that using the tools that you've got in Ontraport. The kind of old way before we had campaigns is to use these settings right here. And I'll just quickly, and this is a great way to do it, particularly if you have fewer products. It becomes pretty simple. So what do these things do? Well, it says exactly here what it's going to do. The first time a transaction fails, run these rules. So you have a transaction that is set to collections, and it's going to just run. It's going to do whatever you tell us to do right here. And so what you would do is you'd say, I don't know, you can send an email probably. These are searchable, so you can send an email. And the email would be like, hey, you didn't, card declined, alert number 1. You didn't pay us, whatever it is. I don't even know what this is. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. This may come as a shock, but your recent membership didn't go through. Don't worry. Go here and update the card we have in file, blah, 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 right? So that seems good. You can also, if you don't want to just send the emails from here, you can add them to a campaign. So you can add them to a campaign, and that campaign, so you say add contact from campaign, that's weird, to a particular campaign that might just give a bunch of follow-ups. However, another way to do it here, so let's just say we send that card decline alert number 1. What is the next group of rules here? It says, well, after the first failure, run these rules every additional time the transaction fails. So remember, we have it set to try every 3 days, and we may want to send a different message. Hey, we tried your card again. Hey, we tried your card again. Hey, we tried your card again. So every 3 days, it's going to run these rules here. And so maybe we would do email, send an email. Now notice, notify someone with an email. That's going to be someone on your team. This is send an email to the contact down here. So card declined alert number 2. I might send that email. Uh-oh, what does it say here? Oh, that email, there it is. Knock, knock. Hey, we told you, but whatever. Okay, so that's what happens next. And then after the last failed attempt, meaning now we're going to write this thing off, run these rules. And now we might say another email that says, okay, you're canceled, right? And then the last one here is if the transaction is eventually successful, then run these rules. And we might have an email that says, welcome back. We successfully charged your card, and your access has been added back. Now, remember, if this is a subscription, if we're talking about a membership site, you can also remove their access. So let's see, up here, the first time a transaction fails, run these rules. You can send them an email, and somewhere in here, you might change their update access to a membership site. So you might say update access to suspended to this particular membership site called blah. And that, of course, will take them to the suspended redirect page, which hopefully will have so when they log in, it'll take them, instead of logging them in, it'll take them to the suspended redirect page, which ideally would have a message saying, hey, your account's been suspended due to non-payment. Here's a form to collect that payment. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then down here, when the transaction is successful, you would add another rule here that says update access to Ontraport membership to enabled. And that'll re-enable them, and then you'd probably add an email here as well, send an email that says, card updated successfully, success. And then boom, you've got the whole situation under control. Now this is makes a lot of good sense if you are basically selling one thing, right? But if you have multiple things, then you don't want to send an email that says your membership site payment has been declined. So so the way to handle that in here is to add a condition. You can add a condition that says transaction contains product. So it says stuff to buy, right? Whatever it might be. So now it's going to say, well, if, and we can actually write is this a rule name? Transaction contains stuff to buy. Something like that. I don't know if that even is a thing. And then we'll save that. I don't know what that is. Okay. Did I say the wrong one? Here, where'd it go? Here it is. Save. All right, transaction contains stuff to buy. That's the rule. And if we look at it, it's going to say, so this rule will only run if these conditions are true. So this transaction contains stuff to buy. That's our membership site payment or whatever. And so then this is what's going to happen. You could create a different rule for different products. Maybe you have a different membership site or a different kind of subscription or whatever it might be. And you can send out different messaging for those by using separate conditions. Okay, so that is one way to handle the management of dunning in using recharge settings. Now these settings are, if you want to change them, this is where they are. But you can basically also just ignore all these rules here and do the whole thing in campaigns. And that's kind of cool. So here is an example of this, and this campaign is actually built into the marketplace, the campaigns marketplace. So you can install this, and it shows you kind of like how to manage this. But basically, it's very similar, but it's done with triggers and goals. So how it's done in campaigns is like this: open order with stuff to buy is charged but declined, right? And that will add them to, and then you make sure any contact in the account is selected. So this will add them to this campaign when that happens. A transaction that contains this particular product is charged but declined, boom, and then they get the card declined email 1. And then here we go, disable WordPress membership, update this field. That's one way to do it. We'll probably do it now with the new version, which is membership, update membership access. We'll say site blog goes to suspended, done. All right, we'll just remove that guy there. Boom. Okay, so now we've sent them a card decline. We've removed their access to the site, set it to suspended, and then we wait 2 days, we send another email, we wait a little longer this time, send another email. Now these emails aren't like perfectly aligned with the charging, because you remember we're charging them every 3 days, but it doesn't matter because the point is they haven't paid yet, right? So we're going to keep trying, and we're going to remind them every once in a while that they haven't got their stuff, and then, or they haven't paid rather. And then down here we have a goal, and the goal is that they have contact submits card authorization and the order is successful. We can add another goal here too, and it's open order is charged. Open order with stuff to buy is charged and successful. So either one of these things happens, then this goal will be achieved, right? And so what is this form I'm talking about here? Well, let's take a look. Preview this page. Let's take a look at this email. Oh, that's not going to work. It's probably not hosted, but we'll go and look at the page that we're sending people to in a minute. But it's basically a page with an order form on it that allows them to update their credit card. And so that's the goal, right? So we've got all these emails. If this goal is achieved, the contact will be moved here, right? It says any contact on this map, move them here if the goal is achieved. And then what is it going to say? It's going to say card updated successfully. Awesome. And then we want to give them their membership site access back. So we update membership access, and we say status to blah is going to be changed to enabled. Done. One of the other things that we tend to do here is I'm going to just remove this one because that's the old version. Recharge transactions. So this is another element. It says recharge all transactions that are in collections. You might have other things, other transactions that are in collections at that time. And now would be a good time, since the card just worked, to recharge anything else. So if that may be the case in your business, then just throw that in there. and we've sent them an email, and so boom, we're set to finish this campaign. Now, if 30 days has gone by and we've decided, and this goal has not been achieved, meaning they haven't updated their credit card successfully, or the card we already have hasn't been charged successfully, then they're going to end up down here because it says continue here if goal is not achieved within this time frame. So within 30 days, boom, down here it says your subscription has been canceled. We're canceling the open order, and the relationship is over. So that's basically how we handle the process in campaigns. The other thing I wanted to mention, what was it? It was, the page, yeah. So that's what the campaign should look like for alerting somebody. The card attempt is going to happen automatically, and then re-enabling them down here if it works, and then canceling it over here if it doesn't work. So that's what that campaign should look like. And then let's just go to the pages, and let's see, card authorization. Yeah, so we just created a page, and what does this have? It has a basic order form. This is an old version of the page. We should update this, because this is old Ontraport pages. But what do we do here? We just have, you got to add a product, but you can just add a $0 product. So we can say, stuff to buy, one at $0, done, and then you can, and then we've hidden the what do you call it? The product grid, right? I'm going to actually just make a new page because this is old. I'm going to make a new landing page and just show you how to do this from scratch. Okay, start from scratch. We're going to add a block, throw a block on here, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to grab credit card info. And there it is, name on the card, card number, expiration year, CVC. We might throw a headline up here that says, something like, please update your card info to get access to your members area. Okay, boom. And then we have a submit button that goes down here at the bottom. Boom. Okay, obviously we can make this prettier. Maybe we will just scrunch this in a little bit, like that is prettier for sure. Lots we can do, obviously, to make this pretty. Then we come in here and we go down to product and payment settings. We add a product, which is stuff to buy, $0, done. Because we have to have a product, but we're just going to put a $0 product because we're not going to. We're just trying to get their card information, right? And then we add our payment gateway, which you'll have to have already added there. We'll just call this the dummy gateway. And no taxes, default invoice, and done. Publish this page, and that's all we need. They'll update their credit card. That transaction will go through if it's a valid card, and then we will recharge everything that's in collections because we have that element on the campaign map. Remember, and away we go. I think that pretty much explains how to handle the situation of transactions in collections using the old method, the new method. Both are good. I like using campaigns nowadays because you get a lot of good information of the people who, you'll see in the campaign map, you'll see some reporting, right? It'll say, here's how many people that have been added to this campaign this month because their cards declined. Here's how many of them actually got through and repaid us. Here's how many of them that ended up canceled, and we can work on improving those ratios. So campaigns are better. They give you a lot more information. So that's how I would do it. But there's people that like to use recharge settings too, so that's fine. Hopefully that answers questions about how to get that project done. If you have any more questions on the subject, let's talk about it in the comments on this video.